Do whatever you say. Swing it, swing your Darksaber, there Mando, swing it, swing your Darksaber, there Mando, wave that thing around. Do whatever you say. Swing it, swing your Darksaber, there Mando, swing it, swing your Darksaber, there Mando.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jason always has a Jason doesn't have his mic.
My mic is off?
Jason.
You can't hear me?
Now we can hear you.
No, it's fine.
That's not me, man. That's the service. That's the service. It was because I was out of service for the Darksaber. That's why this morning we had a funeral sung by the weekend. Hey, Max, how's it going?
Hey, guys. I'm okay. I'm good. How are you?
Good. So Freddy Krueger. We just watched the Mandalorian finale, and yeah, it was a thing. It was definitely a thing. It was as an episode, I liked it as an episode, but as like a finale, nah. And as a, like I said, the show is just, it's had so many band-aids. I think this was the first time the show just had to do its thing and like try to and it didn't really, I don't think they stuck it. I don't think they stuck the landing. But before we go to Rob, who I know is going to fucking love it, what'd you think, Max?
It wasn't perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but I did like. I liked the whole Grogu and Din story thing. So
Right.
I'm for them. So that's, and I didn't look at it like, through a magnifying glass. I just try to enjoy it.
Yeah. Right. And then Rob, you were of course crying. I saw you crying.
It's gonna win all the Emmys.
I saw your reaction video. You were crying.
Win it. Yeah, I really, if I was Zaslav and the head of HBO, I'd be really afraid that they're not gonna be able to get The Last of Us season 2 done with the Mando.
Yeah.
I think this is the future of storytelling, not just in the streaming space, but I think for all genre storytelling, you should just ADR and throw in as much exposition as you can. So you said you covered it. It's in the episode. It's there. I put it there. Even if it contradicts itself, just put it in there and it's cool. Everything works. Everything works. So it's anyone out there feeling they need to spend a lot of money learning how to write stuff, don't worry. You're trying too hard. Like, to save your cash,
Right.
Save it. Don't worry.
Some of the dialogue I wasn't.
It gives fan films hope, Jason. You know what I mean? Like you could just do it. You could just do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Right.
Do whatever you want.
So, yeah. Greatest finale, season finale of all time, right?
Mm-hmm. It was up there.
Okay.
No, it was yeah. So like we when we start out, like that was one of the things that I was talking about like in this like last week. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about, like from leaks and everything, and the way it's set up. Really quickly, why Bo no right animal? That wasn't a leak from me, by the way. That's something that like people keep saying that I promised that she was going to ride the thing. I thought they fought the thing at first. Like that's where I was at with it. But they actually removed or changed the final Mythosaur stuff. And they also removed Din getting rebaptized at the end. And if you look at
see that this whole season, can they just rebaptize everyone?
No, it's not about that.
We didn't get it. We only got the kid. I want everyone.
I'm trying to clarify leaks, not critique that stupid shit. I'm trying to clarify like exactly.
I was telling you, I was so bad.
But I speculate that they never got Pedro because like Bespin and I have been saying the whole time, Pedro was never there. Like if he was there ever, I never saw him, or I never heard of him being there. My people never heard of him being there. Bestman's people never heard of him being there. And so I think that there was the intention at one point to have Din go and be captured by Gideon and have the mask removed. And then when he comes back into the room with when Ragnar at the end is getting after the end, when Ragnar's getting baptized with a little bowl of water, he was going to get that too in the lake. And when you go back to the scenes where he makes the case for Grogu, you can see he has water dripping off of his little things here and everything like that, because they just like they didn't need it because we never got the Pedro shot. It's not see, here's the thing, Rob, is if you got Pedro Pascal's beautiful fucking face in here and all of the TikToks that would have come out of that, it would have been worth it for them to have to throw some fucking water on his face. But in the end, didn't go that way. And
well, you did have the ceremony with the armor is the one thing you did say since before the season started.
Yeah,
know,
no, that
like,
yeah, all of that
for clarity. Yeah.
No, all of that was exactly like how
The
I said it
drums.
would go. The drums, the for Mandalore, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on a side note too, one of my season 4 early things is I said that he'll get a new rocket pack. And when you see him in this episode, he doesn't have the rocket pack, and he is using the white one because that's why he's going to have the new one next time. But that's just a
checklist.
Check. Just saying. No, that's just one of the things. But no. And then so like I tried to get some answers last night about like what happened to Mon Mothma, what happened to the Kevin McKidd thing, and like the whole Kevin McKidd thing, the whole Fang Fighter sequence is gone. It's not in there. They just like the Fang Fighters were supposed to show up at the end and take out the bombers that are attacking the Star Destroyer. That what's his name is going to crash into the planet. I guess they just didn't do it either for budget or whatever. So he's not there with the Fang Fighter Squadron. That doesn't turn up. And then they reorganized the end of it to make it like a happy ending. Like to make it like just a good feel good thing, I guess, before what they're going to be doing with the next run.
Oh, the
stories.
Mando of the New Republic series? Mando of the New Republic?
Yeah.
Instead of Rangers, now it's Mando of the New Republic.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so and then like other things too is like the crust. So I talked to one of my sources and I'm like, crusty old white guy. That's fucking Skinny Pete. Haven't you seen Breaking Bad? And then they're like, I wasn't Skinny. I don't think that was Skinny Pete. Was it? And I was like, yeah. And then he goes, and then the episode they watch it, they're like, oh shit, I don't know. Okay. And we move on from there. But when you watch the very end of it, the crusty old dark skinned guy, look at who's next to him. It's a completely different dude. They like so like Skinny Pete in the boat shit like is like added at the like end or sometime in post. They went and did like a round of reshoots. Because look at this, like right there, he doesn't have the battle droid pauldron. Yeah, no, it's coming up right now. It just fucking, this thing is just so stupid today. Let me see if it opens up. Come on. You can do it, you piece of shit. There it goes. See that guy over there to the left of him? That's supposed to be the Skinny Pete character. Yeah, just a totally different guy. Like, so like there's just like this whole last episode. It's just fucking like it's all in a way the most George Lucas fucking thing we've got. Like it feels like, you know, fucking Ewan McGregor's braid going to this side with the wig on and a fucking glued on beard.
CGI
like
beard.
This is like it was never a CGI beard. It was always just a glued on piece of shit beard.
You know what it is? It's because the digital projection was so weird at the time. It looked odd.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's
makeup probably.
Yeah, it's like all kinds of just like weird shit like R5D4. He's like on the planet's surface now. It's not the biggest deal, but he didn't drop with them in the previous episode.
I know.
And like he has the rockets and everything, so why didn't they just have him drop with it? It would have been hilarious if the Mandos and like R5's a fucking Mando now. So it was like, yeah, there was just like a lot of like, it feels like second guessing at the last not at the last minute, but once they got to around post-production, just started going, you know what? Something didn't work. So, and they just kept changing, because that was the thing, is there was like a lot of, we talked about it. There was like 3 reshoots, and we're like, is it because something went wrong or didn't work, or was it just expanding and adding? And you know what I mean? Sometimes they get more money. They're like, oh, we could do this, and they start reshooting. But when you look at what it is, it's a kind of just a lot of redos like went into this episode. And the other thing was, it should have aired with the last episode. Like the way it began, like I was saying yesterday, people on Twitter were giving me shit about it yesterday. I'm like, 7 and 8 are like the same episode. They just are cutting it in half to make it 8 episodes at the end of the day. And people are talking about the runtime and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, because like 30 minutes, it's like the action act. It's like the act with all the action. But we really literally start with them running down the hallway, and then they add the really
bad ADR
exposition
to get you caught up, as if we didn't just all watch this shit, you know.
And she doesn't
really
say
bad ADR, folks. Like
it was, and she goes like, they're trying to take our home world.
Yeah, I know.
She would have said Mandalore. She would have said Mandalore. And but they're like, you know what? People are dumb, so we got to say our homeworld, because he would have been like, Axe would have been like, oh, which one? Which one do you mean? Like,
what planet am I on?
Navarro? I'll go to Navarro now. I'll be right back.
What planet am I flying away? By the way, and not for nothing, man, we watched a whole episode where these guys couldn't fly their rocket packs for like a mile without losing fuel. This dude went up into orbit. Like I was like, he flew into.
I rewatched that good episode. So I did rewatch the whole season.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that they run out of fuel is that it's that Crater Lake is far, far, far away. And that's how everyone started to run out of fuel. I'm serious. I think that's what it was supposed to imply, that the distance. But
in reality, it's just completely dramatic conceit. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like it's dramatic.
Doesn't
if the
matter.
rocket pack run. Well, no, I mean,
Rafiki says it's in the past, right, Rob?
Rob,
it's in the past.
Let's put it this way: a couple of months ago, I drove from here to Vegas. Okay, 2 weeks before that, driving to Taco Bell, I ran out of gas because I just fucked up like an idiot for the first time in my life.
They didn't put enough gas.
Sometimes you don't have enough gas in the tank. Just the way it goes. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just whatever. Yeah.
It's their rules they're setting up, Jason. It's not like I'm the one going, did they ever run out of fuel and they never bring it up? They brought it up. Like, you gotta, if you're gonna make rules in your own universe, abide by them, or just don't make that a rule.
But once again, it's not a
left and
it's
right.
not a rule.
It rewrites its own rules episode to episode.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong, but but if we take it point by point, sometimes you don't have a full tank because you were out training all day, and then the dragon comes, steals the kid. You're at half tank, bro. It's the way it goes. And like the other thing is like but yeah, I mean, like I've seen people saying what you're saying, and
you're who?
That's not my take. Is like, you guys are worrying about the fuel, but you're not worrying about a guy flying up in the atmosphere in a rocket pack. Like that's where my head is. Like,
out of space, like,
you know what I mean?
You know, I mean, not cold or anything. I don't know, man. Like,
no, that's.
Like, never mind. I am. It's a whole bunch. It
Yeah.
brings up a whole slew of issues, Jason, that I just look. Everyone told me when we started watching this, Rob, this show's for like 8-year-olds. And I'm like,
fuck you, Rob. No, fuck you, Rob. Fuck you, Rob. Rob's the guy who's been going, everybody, I love Star Wars so much. And when Mando 3 comes out, you're all gonna see how.
Oh, I was wrong. Hey, look, hold on, Aaron, hold on. You ready to do it? You ready to do it? You ready? It's been a while. It's been a while since we did it. All right. Oh, let me load this sucker.
I'm gonna Freddie Mercury it. Go ahead.
You ready? You ready?
Why is Rob wrong?
Rob's wrong. Rob's wrong. He didn't like the series. He's full of shit. All right, there we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
But
doesn't matter. You can just write 16 seasons, and you can write them all before the shot. We're getting season 4. Mando: The New Republic. Woo, 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 woo. All right. Yeah, I like
Suck
it.
gave a $4.99 super chat and says, "This whole season was an easy walk in the park. No obstructions in the way. Things worked out. Din aced his job interview and then slept on his porch." Yeah, and that was the other thing. Sorry, I mean to go through the episode, but there's just so many like things that keep hitting my brain. Like he leaves. He pledges his allegiance to Lady Kreese or whatever the fuck he calls her, and then they get the planet back, and then he like bounces to go live in a cabin on another planet.
But the armorer told him to. He was like, "Oh, now that you've got your apprentice, you have to go out and leave Mandalore." I'm like,
Wait, did that happen? And I missed it?
yeah, she said that. She literally told him that. And I'm like, when was that a rule? When did Paz Vizsla have to leave his crew with the kid to wander the cosmos? I don't fucking know. Again, they just make up whole fucking rules at the last. As long as you put it in there, it's cool. Just don't worry. Paz? Never complain about it. Just write whatever you want. And in the very next scene, you can write something. Matter of fact, my favorite in the scene is when we get to the Top Gun bar. And Grogu's like, "Oh, it's my favorite head," right? And like the IG-88, and Din goes, "Oh, that's not your friend. That's something else. By the way, I'm gonna become your new Mission Impossible Mando of the New Republic, and no, you're gonna pay me with the head." But the head ain't the fucking dude. Like, I don't understand. Like, it just look, it's great when you have characters that don't have mouths that move, because you can just rewrite any ADR dialogue you want. Could you imagine if during like the Empire Strikes Back Luke versus Vader scene, Vader was just telling Luke his whole plans during the Clone Wars and
let me ask Empire, you this.
So you could fill in all the exposition during the fight? That would be great. Like,
let me ask you this. When you have that ending, and Din goes and he basically goes to the Republic and says, "Look, I want to hunt Imperials, but I want you to pay me. And it's not the most dangerous work for me, but it's good for me to train my apprentice with. My apprentice could fuck up stormtroopers and shit like that are out there. Like, this is good. This is his level." And then so he's like, "Okay, I'm going to do that." But then with what we also know, that's going to be, he just signed up to be a mercenary in the biggest war since Return of the Jedi, probably, or whatever, right? Because what's happened is they're going to start doing that, but Thrawn's coming back. So we know that like that's going to put him in the forefront of this skirmish in the end. He's going to probably end up unraveling a bunch more of the mystery in season 4 about what's happening.
Episode 3, season 4, episode 3.
But
just that episode.
Anyways,
they'll never bring it back up.
But that was that promising? Yeah. But was that promising? Like, was that saying, "Hey, we know this season was full of fucking Klingon shit. Don't worry, we're going to go back to the format"? Was that what they were promising at the end by putting him in the cabin and like he's back to saying he's a bounty hunter? And like, because this whole season he's been but is that what was that trying to be fan insurance? I mean, I'm assessing your opinion.
I don't know what
you don't know.
I don't know what Favreau is thinking.
Chat, what do you think?
I think they're just trying to get everything done, everything that they could think to put in there. Look, I'm not saying that you can't end up at a certain spot. A character can end up anywhere. You can say they're going to become Inglorious Mandos in season 4, and they're going to be hunting down Nazi war generals and shit. That could be their new mission. Okay. It's just the way they go about it is the most rudimentary, simplistic, like if a Chat GPT version of this fucking idea you could think of. Like it's like, and then they put it in the show and you're like, oh wow, well, we're just going to talk for 5 minutes and explain to you everything, we're going to do. And you're going to, and don't worry. It reads like rules that you make up on the playground when you're like, no, I know this wouldn't go on, but I'm going to do it secret. And you're going to over here. And you're this guy and you're going to be the Mando and I'm going to be the Mando, but I'm going to hunt down your guys and you can't tell your guys, but okay. All right, cool. Like, it's very West End Games RPG, man. It's the best I can explain it. And not a great fucking campaign, like a first timer, like okay, I mean, I'll play because I like Star Wars,
The real like problem with the season and the finale is that it was about the restoration of Mandalore. That's what Favreau set out to do with the series initially. I feel like this was almost like the original end, his original end of the probably what we'll call phase 1 of the Mandalorian now, but the way that it was contextualized in the bigger like scheme of things, Mandalore rising again, I don't know why it matters at the moment, The narrative itself never established why it was important that it does. And so it's like all of the shit with the Shadow Council and Thrawn coming back and shit. It should have been more pronounced that Mandalore Rising was going to stand in the way of that to some extent, that it will matter. And they didn't do it. They only left like implications that I have to make up. And once again, thank you, Sucks, for the super chat. And Steve gave a super chat. Put that on there. Mm-hmm.
Did we read Steve's? Read Steve's.
No, we're gonna read Steve's right now. Din says that he will follow Bo until he gets her crown back. So
here's the thing: if
mission accomplished, yes.
Right, but look, if Gideon destroyed their homeworld, they have a personal vendetta against the dude. So, like, if he's in league with these other Imperial war generals, if their whole fucking mission now is to destroy the remnants of the motherfuckers who destroyed their planet, right? Then that puts a mark on every one of those generals. That gives them like a little checklist to knock off. And Inglorious Mandos season 4, right?
True.
Like there's something to do there. But bro, that's giving Jon Favreau too much fucking credit for like utilizing pieces on the board and in an entertaining and somewhat beyond the surface level fucking action figure shit. You know?
Yeah.
So like great ILM did a fantastic job with the visual effects. But like at the end of the day, it's like typical fucking Star Wars. Like when you're like, I guess I don't care. I don't know why I'm supposed to care.
Well, yeah. So like
to be that way. Like if he's making elite clones of Gideon's making elite clones of himself at age 67, but they can use the Force, so it doesn't matter. Why? Like he's not a great fighter. Like they had to add all that sound effects on his glove. He has mechanical Iron Man gloves when he closes his hands. You hear all those sounds they added to show that he has the mechanical strength.
It was like Biff Tannen in Back to the Future Part 2 or Griff.
Yeah,
Tannen.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, one thing that like I would say, and I don't know, I honestly don't know what the correct analysis of this is, for instance, but I've now got it confirmed to me like a few times, like that there were moments in the season where they went back and just redid whole things. And I don't necessarily understand. Well, I think I know why some of it happened, but I don't know if like, was it doubt or was it the ability to just keep going and keep adding and then it made it messy? And I'm kind of of the opinion that it was the ability to keep revising and the time that they had made it messier than it needed to be. It allowed them to like brew on and stew on certain things and then add ADR shit to fix it and stuff. Like here's like a big one. I don't think this is out there, but I've now heard this 3 different times. You know the episode where Din goes down into the mines of Mandalore like the first time, and then he fights the General Grievous monster.
Right.
That was a witch, like a spooky witch in the original, like when they first filmed it. And then if you look at the scenes, you can see like in the background, there's all this like cauldron-y kind of stuff and everything. Like it's very like, and the witch was taking his blood for sacrifice and stuff. And it's just like weird fucking like witch monster. And then I heard from one person, they're like, it was a little too Gorian Shard. They didn't like the proximity of Gorian Shards, like cartoony Marvel Star Wars next to that. And then I also just think that maybe the witch is coming in the Ahsoka series and what that's going to mean. They were like, oh, we should just change it. So, but then they go and then they turned it into this like techno beast monster thing. And like, you know what I mean? And that was fun. I liked it. So I don't have like a critique of that. Like, I'm like, that's fine. Cool. It's cool. But I have so many of those stories I can't tell from this season that are about stuff just like that. That like where they just kept like they did it and then they're like, oh, let's just do it different and kept doing it. But I got a feeling like the earlier stuff was more like just a more concise idea and like was more specific. And so they didn't have to deal with all of these caveats and voices in their head going like, oh, we need to add the ADR so that way dummies know. But then like the fucking, I was trying to be on like Favreau's side more than not. I still am trying to be. And like
Like
the writing though is, and I'm a bad writer myself, so and I don't and so I can, so from one bad writer to another, I could say you're a bad writer sometimes, because like that fucking moment like with the clones, like the jetpack guys aren't clones. Gideon's just making clones in his own fucking that special armor stuff. And in his Beskar armor stuff. And then like we get to the clones in this episode and we're like, oh, that's what you were talking about? How about you just fucking were more specific in the scene before? Because you wrote it that way thinking that was going to make that more impactful. All it actually did was just kind of fucking nerves. You know, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because seeing and then at the end of the day, it was a bunch of old Gideons in there. He cloned himself old. He thinks old him is the best him. Come on.
Yeah, that'll take on the New Republic. I don't fucking know, man. Like, it's just.
Are y'all being ageist?
Yeah,
I'm ageist when you want to send 67-year-old dudes who don't fight to take on Luke Skywalker and the New Republic. You know what I mean? Little bit.
But they were going to be Jedi or have the Force.
And I also think Bo-Katan got some more Botox in this one, and I kept wanting to call her Botox Katan, and I was laughing into myself. Hey, no. If we're gonna go like ageist, I know Max was being facetious, but if we're gonna go ageist this and ageist that, well, getting fucking Botox, that shit's ageist as fuck. That's what I'm saying. Like, I need to modify myself. I think she's beautiful, and she shouldn't do it personally. But it's her. Whatever makes her happy. You know, at the end of the day. But come on, Botox Katan, it's kind of funny. At least to me.
I gave them the Force. So it proves you can just give people midi-chlorians now and they can get the Force.
No.
Right?
That's offensive as well, because we got to take that two different ways now. So
we're right back to the prequel arguments, Jason. We're we're back to episode 9 bullshit. Honestly, unfortunately, is that the whole thing was that if they couldn't do clones, they couldn't clone Jedi. All of this stuff, like we couldn't, Palpatine, they had problems with it. Now we can look at it two ways. Number one is maybe those guys never got out of there. They never woke up. Maybe it didn't actually work. Maybe he thought it did, or Din, when he hit the thing, destroyed it. And once again, he doesn't have cloud service, so he didn't back up his data. And so now it's lost. But I also don't believe he's dead at all, even though he should be. He should be dead, but he's not. He's not dead.
He's not dead. No, I mean, they did a moment where with the Darksaber, she like literally goes to like behead him, and it like hits the armor, and it just like goes clink. Right, the Darksaber can't cut through the Beskar on it, and so it's like, oh, okay, that's that. And
aim for the spots that aren't Beskar. He's got knees. He's got elbows. You know, like Jedi. I mean, come on, man. People aiming for knees all the time with those lightsabers and Darksabers. Like the one time she doesn't, it's because it's just all right, man. Like,
yeah,
they don't learn nothing. The characters don't learn nothing in their own series. Like it's so weird.
Well, see, like the thing is, like, I'm the kind of person where if it's like you're going to do this thing, and someone like Rob will see it as a rule, but I'll be like, you know what? I'm like, break the rule for fucking something super fucking fun. Like Darth Maul coming back. Like I think it's low fucking super shitty that Darth Maul came back with zero explanation. They never showed it. They was like, look over here instead. But when they did it, their look over here instead was ultimately so much fun that I said, that was weak ass shit, you guys, but I'm having fun with you, so let's fucking continue. The problem is that if they keep doing that, they keep doing things that Rob would say were breaking their own rules, but I don't think that the payoff is worth it necessarily. Like, I don't really.
Yeah, but bananas can just fly in space now. Like,
I'm perfectly.
They could just
I'm perfectly fine with that, with like them doing that in that moment. Like that moment was actually fun. But once again, like Rob says, when you go and you make it a thing that if they're gonna run out of fuel on the previous episodes, and then you're gonna make it where they camp before they continue on, and then so on, like it starts to go where, like, you know what, you're like I can justify the rocket pack thing by itself, but then when we go, like, we add the camp thing in, that's when I'm just like, you're in over your head. You're writing too much. You got too much going on to keep track of, and you're starting to like struggle with your own stuff. Like I hate to say it, but I hope the writer's strike brings in the writer's room.
Jason,
the small writers.
Do you know why novelists get paid money? Because it's fucking hard to write a novel, to track everything. Just tracking chapter to chapter.
My
like,
17 books on Amazon aren't selling anything, so I don't know what you're talking about right now. It's
why, you know, like you have like an editor who's like, hey, you lost track of this character in chapter 3 and chapter 6. The revision process of novel writing and keeping track of everything is a fucking nightmare. Like, so like you have to be very, I my own self, like anytime I had a chapter, I have to put down the characters are going to be in it on my document before I'm writing, the point, you know what I mean? And then like after you do it, did I actually do that? Like it's hard to like, it's hard to know, did you actually do it? And here you're like, no, I don't think any of that shit matters. You just write some shit and then we'll all fucking figure it out as we go, and should be pretty good. Like the mouse droids. So the mouse droids,
that was funny.
Car signals.
That was
cool. Funny, but then it goes and gets other mouse droids. If it had gotten a storm, I don't know, something like, or if they had been able to electrocute it, or it just they're like just dinking against.
That was
like,
funny.
Okay,
it was stupid funny.
I like it when the cops rat them out, right? Like, you know what I mean? Look at they're cops.
Yeah.
Like,
what? I mean, but once again, on that one right there, I could let that one go, because I think that was the droid's intention. But the base is literally under attack by Mandalorians right now, so nobody's calling in nobody's dealing with the trespasser droid. They're just like, yeah. So everybody, you know what I mean? And then the people he's probably calling also might be dead, considering what the fight that just happened.
I don't know. I don't know how many people there. I don't know what the control room looks like. You don't know. I don't even know where the entrance to this place is. I don't know where it's located on the planet. You knew the prison in Andor, right? You knew the location. You knew the dudes that were in there. You knew the point to get up, get out, like geography matters in a fight. Michael Bay's horrible at geography. It's one of the things I appreciate about James Cameron, and George Miller's excellent at it too. And is that the geography of where a person's at. That's why Lucas has establishing shots, even on the Phantom Menace, of showing here's the fucking Jagungans, here's the droid army, here's where they're fighting. It'd be nice to know where they are in relationship to the fucking palace. You know, we don't know that.
That is the one thing about like the prequels, is when people have those arguments or those things, like you can actually reference cutscenes where it was there and they just removed it for like pacing issues. This show, they just go like, oh fuck it, you know, like
fuck it.
Yeah, just fuck it.
Hey, it's for Rob. It's right, Rob. Remember, Rob. It's for 8-year-olds. So we're all over the place in this. We'll be talking about it for a while, I'm sure. But we're like all over the place right now. But it just is what it is. But it's like Book of Boba Fett was for me still the most disappointing series that they've done in the big picture, with real high highs and real low lows for me. And I still feel this is better than Book of Boba Fett. But what Book of Boba Fett was a trailer for what was coming, wasn't it? It was the hey, this is now. This wasn't. There was times with Book of Boba Fett where I was like, yeah, they had to set up and shoot real fast. It was, you know, it was during the peak COVID, and it was a different director at first and different guy. You know, there's all these things that just might. That you could go, that's why that was that way. But when you look at it, you're like, you know, it is just pure out the writing. Like, I'm actually exonerating Robert Rodriguez a little bit, not entirely, but a little bit. I was talking to a filmmaker friend of mine who's out in LA, and he was like, yeah, I got a friend who worked on that Boba Fett thing with Robert Rodriguez. And I'm like, sure you did. He's like, no, I really do. You know, really do.
Yeah.
I'm like, what they got to say? He played a lot of guitar. Like, that's all they remembered. I'm like, did the job, but not like heavily engaged in like, I blocked this scene in and here's the storyboards. It's like shot the script, had fun when the cameras were off, you know, like called it.
We all might die. Let's just have a good time playing guitar.
Yeah. Right. Don't ignore the plague and the death.
But anyways, yeah. So when we open up, we just kind of we do. There were, I mean, to finally say something good, like there were like shots that I would classify as by themselves. There were some epic shots. There was some pretty rad shit with Bo-Katan flying in with the Darksaber and like cutting up the troops flying at them, like that kind of where the two armies sort of clash, but they do it in air. Like the shots were cool.
Yeah, the fight choreography was all right. It wasn't as cool as like the Last Jedi Praetorian Guards. You know what I mean?
Oh, wait,
Like
I'm talking about the rocket pack thing.
But I'm just saying in
right
general, like the hand to hand combat throughout the episode was good enough. Like it was cool enough.
And to go over to that, if you take the totality of the Praetorian Guard fights, the first one I thought was very dancey last episode, and kind of shit and kind of shot like shit. And this one, when they're fighting Din, was better, but it's a little slow and a little clunky because of the suits and stuff. I'm just gonna guess, like the Mandalorian suit and everything, but it was more entertaining. But go and watch both of those scenes, and then go watch the Last Jedi moment, and that's why you pay Rian Johnson the big bucks. Just throwing that out there, even if you don't like the movie. It's
also something you have to appreciate in the films that is not evident here as well. Is when you have an interior shot, the interior shot of the Praetorian fight in The Last Jedi, when you cut to an exterior battle shot, they still feel like the same film. Here, when you're watching the Praetorian Mando fight, then you cut to those digital exterior shots where all the Mandos are flying everywhere. You're like in another fucking film. Like it's like, it's totally the shot cinematography is totally different. I don't know if that's color grading or just the way the focal length, you know what I mean? Like the camera lenses, however that works out, but totally different. I got to ask my friend that.
Yeah.
He would know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like in terms of like like they did, a part of me really respects them for trying to do the Return of the Jedi multi-battle sequences going on Disney Plus. Like there's,
I want
you know
them
what I
to
mean?
be able to figure out the Guns of Navarone fight before they start trying to attempt George Lucas's George Lucas stuff. I mean, George Lucas, Return of the Jedi.
Explain that a little bit, because people don't know what you're talking about.
Well, the Guns of Navarone was a movie. It's basically the movie that inspired Mission Impossible. It was about a group of basically soldiers who had to go in and get in World War II. It's a fictional story. They had to go into an island, a Nazi island that had like 2,000 POWs, and it had a giant gun, like a Death Star gun. It was like impossible to take out. And they had to sneak in, get them, and get out. And a lot of people die. But you know the location, you know the gun battle, you know what the Nazis have to do. They have to like rig it to explode. They have to get it. And just like, it's just a straightforward, impossible mission World War II scenario. And like when I thought about going on to Mandalore, Gideon has a stronghold there. You know, he may be holding old Mandalorians there to experiment on them for clones or weird shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this reminded me of the most. I'm like, they should have invoking like something that. And here when you're jumping around and doing surface to air battles and blah 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 blah, I'm like, there's no room for being on the there's very little room to be experiencing the battle with the people. You're just experiencing random action moments or whatever you want to call it. Like, you know, like Bo-Katan wasn't, like Gideon destroying the planet wasn't haunting her the whole season. You know, it's just like, we just know because they said in an episode at the very end at a dinner table scene that they're rivals, but we didn't experience any of this.
I would have, if I were editing this thing, you know, the scene where they see plant life is growing on the planet, that they can farm it, that they learn that, I would have probably put that in the previous episode. That way we kind of went into this thing knowing what, because they do like learn, they are fighting for a lot more than they thought. They thought they were fighting potentially for a dead world. And then they learn like there is a future here. And I do think it ties in nicely to the Darksaber concept. Now this is just like deep nerd shit, more or less. But the Darksaber is a weapon that was created to fight Jedi. And in a lot of ways, the Mandalorians and the Jedi are atoning through Grogu in the culture and everything. Like literally the queen of the planet is saved right now because of Grogu. Or the of Mandalore herself, and basically she this Darksaber thing, it was always sort of a bad thing, and it had this dogma with it that made it where like they would just follow any old jackass who had it. Max, shut up. And then they would also go.
Could y'all hear me?
Wow.
No, I can hear
Jason
you.
just turned into John Campea for a
No,
second.
I just yeah, I'm just gonna start telling you to shut up because it's funnier. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Yeah,
I had it on.
bless you, Max. I'm kidding. No, your mic isn't muting, by the way. That's why I tossed you out earlier because you were like, "I'll be right back," and then I could hear you moving and stuff.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't care.
I'll do this next time.
These people could just deal with it. I don't care. Anyways, though, Darksaber is it's the fucking there's the lightsaber for the good guys and the Darksaber's not for the good guys. It's not a good thing ultimately. It's a stupid fucking tradition, and it has all of this stuff. So I did like that it was like they've done away with it now. It's probably
they're gonna
destroyed.
get red hat sabers in season 4.
But with this fucking show, with this series, where then Grogu leaves, then Grogu comes back, and then probably Gideon's dead, and probably not dead, and they just undo things. For all I know, IG-11 is fucking destroyed. Then he's a mech, and then now he's a cop. It's like the Darksaber might just get put back together.
It literally is. If you and I were playing action figures and we only had 30 minutes, right, on recess to get a whole adventure, we're going through all the beats we remember from the films, or we're making up rules as we go, you know. And then, oh wait, the bell rang. We're off. We're back into class. Run, you know, like.
And thank you to everyone for the super chats and supporting the show. Super appreciate it. Shogun says Praetorian fight versus jetpack fight might have felt different because jetpack fight was shaky cam feeling, while Praetorian fight was not shaking cam. Maybe. Yeah, I once again, I'm not a filmmaker, so like to me, it looked like the fact that I see what you're saying. Like there wasn't any movement in the camera, so it was sort of static. And like my mind went right to like coverage. Like we needed to be cutting back and forth through angles and eye lines and stuff like that to get like, you know, them sizing each other up. And instead it's just like, here's what happened. We just set it up and filmed it. And
There's
didn't kind of
axis issues, I think too, but I have to go through and really dig in to see where characters place up when you cut back and forth, you know, and then there's focal length issues. And in digital shots, they can emulate focal length, but it when you line that right up next to something that has lenses matter. Like to quote Christopher McQuarrie for Rob Bingo, he was once talking about how he didn't learn about lenses until like Mission Impossible or something. Like he was basically saying like, how come my movies don't look like movies? Like he was like, they didn't like Way of the Gun didn't look like a film to him, and Reacher was like better. You know, like the guy who came on there was using lenses, and he was like, he didn't learn about lenses till Reacher is what it was, because he was like, oh, that's what an anamorphic lens does. Like now it looks like a movie, you know, like because as a writer he wasn't focused. He was focused on actors' performances. He was focused on getting his shots. You know, he was focused on. He was like, but it looks flat. Like what's up with that? Like yeah, you know, look, it does happen. The thing is, do they learn? And I'm like, Jon Favreau knows all this shit. Rick Famuyiwa knows all this stuff. These aren't, you know, if it was Bryce Dallas Howard or someone who, fine, Filoni maybe not as aware because they use virtual focal lenses in you know, Maya or whatever software they're using to animate. Fine, but like, it really is like. It's like when you see a fan film that cuts from someone's backyard to an all digital shot. That's an extreme example. This is not that, but it's this version of it, you know? Like you know, and look, most people, they won't be able to tell the fucking difference. But if you want to see the difference, look at like, even on for the Last Jedi, right? Like when they're in the cave, Luke is talking to Leia and then he goes outside to a digital set, or they're cutting to Finn and that little speed racer, you know, thing that they're doing. It doesn't feel like two different films when it's cutting back and forth, you know? And so and I got to ask my buddy, is that just grading or is there a combination of like, he would know, man. And I wish he'd come on the show, but he doesn't want it. Anytime people in the industry, like I show my face, I risk basically never getting a job again because I said an opinion, you know?
Yeah.
Pussy. So they're all afraid.
Pussy.
Yeah. I'm joking. I'm not, man up. Fire me. Like whatever.
Yeah, fucking what? Fire me. Yeah, fire me. I quit. I don't want to work. Stephanie says, I enjoyed the episode. I just wish there was a dialogue scene between Din and Bo before they went their separate ways. And
too much dialogue at the end though.
No. Steph. I think Stephanie's. No, Stephanie's right. Like whoever mentioned it earlier, they're like, yeah, he said that he was going to be her, he was going to follow her until she got her crown back.
Right. Oh, but it
And
didn't matter because that's not
no,
a rule.
and it did, but there definitely should have been the moment where she's like, I got it now. I got my crown back. You can go. Like that.
I told you the armorer was their leader, Jason. Like she's out there baptizing people. She's lighting the forge. Bo-Katan isn't on there. The armorer is the leader. Like, I don't even know who's running Mandalore, man. I think it's the armor.
Well, okay, Steve, thank you for the super chat. $10 super chat from Steve says, all the season's problems can be blamed on reuniting Din and Grogu too soon. Disney, Lucasfilm must have forced Favreau to do this and led to this season's problems. So just gonna be honest with you, Steve, I never heard that it was forced personally. I think on the hot mic, I think he said that was a thing. And so, I would love to hear more about if that's what it was, if that's how it happened, but I haven't heard anything about that actually being.
But it doesn't excuse.
Thing. And
look, we could say that holds true, Jason. Like, forget about who did it. If all the problems are that they reunited too soon, which I agree, they reunited too soon.
Yeah.
However, they wrote another story. This story, you could say I wasn't interested in the story if it was, but it wasn't well executed what they wrote. It's not that the idea of writing all this was a bad idea. Well, it's just their execution of it is like, is beyond the skill set apparently of whoever wrote this, which I gotta say is Jon Favreau.
It's
I just don't.
Yeah, it's like wanting to make a movie like Elizabeth or something, but your characters are not characters who would be in that story. Like you're using R2 and 3PO to tell fucking, you know what I mean? Like the story of Elizabeth, like it doesn't make sense. And like Grogu and Din they're a hard fit for it, but you can't, like I said, like I was on board with him being like, okay, he's a knight now, and they're going that way, and they're going with
Sir
this
Din
more,
Grogu.
Yeah, Sir Din, Sir Dingle. But I thought they were, I really thought they were gonna stick to that, and because of where we're going. But at the end of the day, like it's like, well, mission accomplished. Later, bitch. I'm going to my cabin with my kid, and we're gonna fucking chill. We
have a whole planet we restore, but I'm gonna go wander the universe, but not really. I'm gonna settle down after I just got a full-time job being a mercenary doing so. I don't fucking know, man.
This planet, things things kill us down below, and things kill us up here. Why don't you leave? You're the most powerful guy here. Outside of Bo-Katan, you're like our number one ass
kicker. You just swore allegiance to Bo-Katan, and you'll never leave her side. But peace, bitch. Like Patu, bitch. Like I'm out. Guys, look. To quote Corey Coleman, you deserve better. You deserve better. This should have a writer's room. It should have this shit worked out. I shouldn't have to be told Star Wars is for 5-year-olds. I think 5-year-olds and 50-year-olds should be able to fucking get the same mental equivalency out of the fucking writing. Doesn't need to be fucking overly complex. I'm not looking for goddamn Succession with fucking lightsabers and shit. Just make some sense. Like
I looking at things, Favreau's obviously a fine director, and I think Favreau's also a fine storyteller. The story he has is fine, is good. There's nothing wrong with the story. Like, actually, in fact, when I heard the story for the first time, I was like, fuck yeah. Like that's what I want. And so I was sold on the story, but then the scripts for said story, the organization and the flow is not. And I've been nice to the whole season, thinking like we got to wait until we see what things amount to before we start, like, you know what I mean? Start saying, and now, I am completely on, like, it didn't matter that we went to Coruscant. It didn't matter what happened to Pershing. It was like, it just felt like, you know what? I don't want to do the clone stuff anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So let's just stop.
Din may as well be having a glow pop at the ranch at the end too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why not?
If he had
Like-
sucked that fucking glow pop, that would have been a
Under the
big
helmet.
meme. A big
Right
meme.
under the
Revenge guy with the message of the day. This was literally the Star Wars equivalent of "Did you come, babe?" That's pretty good. That's pretty.
That would go on the
good.
back of the DVD for
Did
season
you?
4, right? Yeah, but not all the way, and now it hurts when I pee.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
might be a UTI.
That's Star Wars
Too
blue
hard of a
balls.
grip.
That's that we call that Thrawn balls around here. Thrawn balls. Yeah. Star Wars equivalent of blue balls is Thrawn balls.
Papanoidians, right?
Yeah.
Like my Papanoidians are fucking
Papanoidia balls.
Oh, God.
Robert Sinclair, was someone watching Grogu and Din at the end of this episode?
Yeah.
The circle Wipus transition was an interesting choice. I have something to say on that. I was waiting for Porky Pig. That's all, folks. Then I thought maybe it's a viewfinder. No. So here's where I go. No, Femiua. No.
Yeah.
Femiua was toting that this was influenced and inspired by the Charlie Chaplin film The Kid, which, by the way, you could watch on YouTube. Super good, easy watch. About, I don't know, 50 minutes long, maybe. It's not long, and it's a good
less
watch.
than an hour.
Everybody should watch it at some point in their lives. I failed to see where there was a true something where I'm like, that really pulled from it, because it really wasn't apparent in any good way. And that little thing at the end was, well, there you have, you got one thing.
I like how he said a silent film inspired this show that won't shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? like they won't stop talking. At least in the silence film, no one's talking.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to hear this stupid ADR. Hey, let's go take the kid and fucking add ADR, Jason. We can do that, right? It's 1921. They can't do shit about that. It's out of copyright. We could just add fucking needless exposition right over all their fucking voices, you know, their movements.
Dad, I'll break the window so you can fix it and we can get paid. That's literally like what the equivalent is. I mean, and you know, I kind of think to some extent, like some of this is a problem with the fact that we've heard a lot of times, many people have now said to both Bespin and I, Favreau loves the memes. He loves the memes. He follows the memes. But I think the problem with paying attention to the it's like you want the imagined audience, I guess, in your mind. And when you have that like balance, then your storytelling, I think your execution of the storytelling will be really probably efficient. But I think maybe he's a little too engaged with the actual audience, and he knows how fucking stupid and frustrating and how we want to choke you because you're so fucking dumb. And like, I think it got to him or something. I don't know. Maybe.
The way I look at it in my experience in the art world is when you get a group of artists together and they're making themselves laugh. Like you get this all the time. Someone goes, Rob, this would be a great idea for a t-shirt. That'd be a great idea for a t-shirt. And you're like, I'm like, yeah, that won't work. You know, that's good for 500 people. When you need 20,000 people to get on board, it don't work. And so you got to be very careful about putting in little memes and little jokes that make you chuckle, because you could basically annoy the majority of your fucking audience when you do that.
It could go. It can go the other way. I mean, it could go. I mean, Star Wars is so big, you're going to annoy somebody just for fucking doing anything.
That's not what I'm talking about, but yeah.
No, I know that. But it's also like, and I know it's a comment, its genre is a little bit different, but like there are seasons where you could tell that the writer's room of South Park is having fun. And you can feel it, and then it becomes like it's fun to watch. And there's times when you get the impression that they weren't having that much fun. They weren't laughing like they were in high school. And like, you know what I mean? At the jokes and stuff. And like there's like and I gotta say though, I was thinking of them. They've been on my brain while I was watching this, because you could watch their like little talk they gave at a college, and it's the like this happens therefore kind of style of storytelling. And Mando has not mentioned or has not mastered that. Mando goes and says like, this is going to happen. This big war is going to happen. And so we're going to do stuff that checkbox our way there, but we don't ever go, oh, therefore the war is coming and Thrawn. Like I do the work because I care about it enough, But if I didn't care about it, like this would just be a really vacant, empty season for me. And
the therefore is you're referencing the Matt and Trey like storytelling. If this happens, or therefore, something like that. It's in the back of my head right now. You know, but I know what you're talking about.
It's not, and then it's therefore.
Therefore,
yeah. And so like basically like that's the way that it was structured. With it just being like, here's all of these ideas, and then like they're going to happen. There's no real like.
Therefore, there's no consequences for any of it. Therefore, nothing really matters. It's just go with it, Rob. Just be happy they made anything. Like, I'm shocked, Jason, that we've got 20 to 30 hours. You know, let's be conservative, 20 something hours.
We have 24 episodes of the show, right? 8, 16, 24, less than an hour. So less than 20 hours, but yeah.
I'm saying since Mando season 2, if you count up Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, Andor, and this, that there's 3 seasons worth of content I have no interest in revisiting other than maybe a couple sequences. Like, I don't understand how that's possible. I can still watch Mando. Look, I don't think Mando seasons 1 and 2 are perfect. I felt, especially in season 2, their use of Gideon was going nowhere and was not a good. Like it was downright cartoonish in the last episode of season 2 before Luke Skywalker showed up and made us all forget about how bad that Gideon Mando fight was. And they weren't doing Esposito any favors with that dialogue, you know, and the weird dark forces troopers bit.
Yeah, we know it's not him as an actor. We know it's completely on Favreau. Correct. That he has not developed him and given him any real nuance or anything.
Yeah. So like,
I don't like him.
Now we're here.
I like the actor, and so I want it to work, and I know how talented he is, but I actually don't like Gideon. I like Gideon's new costume that he wore for 5 minutes more than him right now, and it's probably blown up. So it's like,
his dialogue I didn't find interesting. It kind of rolled my eyes a little bit, but
like it's questionable intelligence, or like he holds back when he's talking to his spy, but then he literally tells the good guys his whole plan, like he's that kind of villain, and if he's that kind of villain, it's fine.
It's monologuing.
But don't get Esposito for that. You know what I mean? Like that. Get him in Andor. That's where he belongs, and not here, unfortunately.
Did he also write the first 2 seasons?
Yeah.
A lot of it, at least.
John Favreau is like the primary writer on the show. And then Filoni would step in, and then there's a guy who has been there for the whole time, but I think he was more like the on-set kind of like do this, change this for me kind of guy, but he's now apparently getting story credit, or writer's credit. He's like doing enough. So yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah, this right here, I definitely I would watch it.
Peter Griffin, a friendly piece of advice: assume I know everything. Seem surprised about everything. Like that's true. Like like you just the character. Man, this is like. It's like, when it's the downside of like the Wizard Magazine fan casting. So Wizard Magazine back in the 90s was a comic book magazine, and they would have a section where they would, if you were going to make a Superman movie, here's who should play all the characters. And they would just find actors who looked like the drawing. Like it was never a good call.
Ooh, Rob's in trouble. Matt Risman says the other writer.
Okay, I got it.
Matt needs Matt, you need to pull the name, Matt. Come on. Help us, Matt.
So what I was trying to say is they would come up every now and then. They come up with the win in Wizard. Like they go, Patrick Stewart should play Professor X, and you're like, hey, that's a novel idea. But most of it was like Howie Long should be Venom. You're like, Howie Long, like Howie Long, the football player. Like so, and then in this you get the feeling like Favreau remembers all those Wizard. Like who should play the main bad guy? Who like an Imperial officer? It should be the dude from Breaking Bad. He'd be great. And you're like, yeah, except you wrote him bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you continually, like ah, man, these dudes again, like the nomads who've been living there with dinosaurs blowing up their ships left and right. Like I can't get past. They live on a planet where dinosaurs erupt, and like no one's prepared for this. You know? Like,
yeah, for me, like with them, like there's like number one, I kept saying like the last couple of days, like there is nothing in that previous episode to make you think there's a spy. And I don't think we should be obsessed with this spy question because the narrative isn't selling that idea. And then I was like, but
It was
if
just a title, right?
well, I was like, if anybody is a spy, Axe Wobe's not being at the last finale, you know, that part, that's a red herring or a sign.
he was in space.
And then yeah, it was flying around. And then when we get to these guys, I was like, these guys would be the most likely candidates considering like they've been there with Gideon the whole time, like, you know, proximity, like maybe it's them. But the thing about it is like they're on this boat with them. No one's talking about anything. And it's like that's where we should have like learned about the farms. That's where like, what have you guys been up to? Why should we trust your fucking ass? You guys just been here the whole time? What the fuck? What? You know what I mean? Like there were questions
imagine
that
like
I had
during
the whole
Batman
time.
89 when he's going to like Batman's going to save Vicky Vale, he takes a pause and shows Vicky like the Batcave, you know? Like, or like at the end of The Dark Knight during the boat sequence, he stops and has a, you know, he shows like he stops and has a "the city could be better" speech. You know, you're like we're in the middle of something, man. What are we doing with this?
And then
he is. Maybe he's just sweating.
No, like I said, the armorer has the you know the bowl, and she's like putting the water on the kid, and then he walks in completely dry, and then after that, and then he walks up, and then he's like his face is then wet, and he's like, "What about Grogu?" You know, and he goes like right into it. Like I'm pretty sure. For a time, I kept looking at it. I'm like, is he? You know, are those scratches? Are those? Yeah, he's wet. He's wet. Like the armorer, like
that
literally.
Jordan Peele meme. Remember the Jordan Peele meme when he's sweating? Like,
yeah, but yeah, and no one else but Paz's kid has that on their helmet. Has that is wet.
And they had that kid speak again, dude, saying the same lines we've already heard him say. This poor kid just got the dumbest voice in all of Star Wars. I promise I'm going to swear on the Mandalorian that I will take an AK-47-15 to school every day. You know, with his giant, his visor so much thicker. It's like I don't want to say a special needs visor. I don't want to say that, but maybe he's just got like, you know, when the older people would wear those Oakleys because they were like just to keep, you know, like those glasses to, you know, they got real bright. I don't know, man, dude. This fucking show, dude, it's like, this is crazy, dude. Like, I just like
but I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Skinny Pete, is what I was trying to say earlier. That
they just made a whole new dude. You won't notice.
Then
no one will notice.
Yeah, they well, you can't see his other pauldron, but Skinny Pete has a super battle droid pauldron, and I can't tell if this guy does, but you know, I'm just gonna go with it's a different guy. Skinny Pete's taking a shit or something, but it's like maybe he's getting some meth, you know, probably. But
no. He's doing midi-chlorian so he can have the Force.
So sorry, Max. What were you saying? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, it was last night. I, for whatever reason, just noticed it then. But so Bo was like in heavy combat, right? And then she takes off her helmet and she's like completely dry. And her hair is blowing. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
You would be wet. Sopping wet. I just thought that was
like maybe if they had given the kid his dad's minigun or something. Like, your kid. You know? Like at least address the fact that your dad died. And like that could have been a memorial to like Paz for sacrificing. It just ignores that his dad died, dude. Worst stream ever.
Could they possibly have filmed it and just didn't add it?
Okay.
I'm asking.
No. It's wasteoftimepodcast.com. All right, you got it wrong, Pop Talk. Like,
yeah, Pop Talk.
The guy with 1,800 fucking podcasts is telling me. I wouldn't know if it was the worst stream ever because he's got 3,000 podcasts. I can't tell.
I don't know who that is.
So,
but
yeah, I got a good idea who that is. But like, there's just like, you killed Paz. No one addresses it. They don't build a fucking like the thing in his name or something, dude. Like,
Yeah.
then why bother? I don't
Yeah,
know. Like the kid
someone
didn't even say maybe you know what? No one was wondering if Din had adopted Grogu yet. We all assumed, yeah, it's his fucking kid. He should have adopted Paz's nitwit kid. You know what I mean? Like, and now you're part of my family now or something. Like the kid who has legitimately lost his dad has no dad. Like
well, no, that was the question that I had. Is I was like, what's going to happen? I was like, is he going to go with Bo-Katan as the armor? The armor was close with Paz. Maybe the armor will just raise him as to be an armor.
Sure.
You know what I mean, or something like that. And
Sure.
and someone DM'd me, and they go, Jason, I read your leak about the ceremony at the end in the Mines of Mandalore. Is there a chance that you're wrong and it's not really a ceremony, that it's a funeral? And I said, oh shit, that's possible. That
Here's
really
an
could
idea.
be. And then we got there and it was like, oh, once again, the fans have thought of a better reason for this than, you know what I mean?
By like watching the show. You're like, do they read their own scripts? Do they read it? Do they understand it? Or because I have been in certain cases where projects are handed to and you just get the ball rolling and everyone's moving forward, but no one is actually paying attention to the thing they're making. They're just making it. I have been a part of that, and every now and then you go, is this supposed to happen? Like, is this right? And I don't know. Who said that? I don't. And then like this, all hands, everyone has to stop what they're doing. You see this a lot. If you want to see this happen in real time, go watch like MasterChef Australia. The American ones aren't good with this, but MasterChef Australia, they're really good when they go to like team challenges at restaurants and they're just they're making something, but none of the thing they're making ties together or makes any sense for what they're supposed to do. But they just got on a roll with making some shit. You know, they have to stop and rethink.
Okay,
like,
for everyone else who doesn't watch mom TV, Rob's talking about like when you smoke way too much weed and then you go and you get like Taco Bell and you get some sushi and you get like, you know what I mean? And then you end up with some Mexican food, real Mexican food with Taco Bell and sushi. And maybe you're like, oh, you know what would be good? Some spring rolls from the pho place.
You're being really specific,
this
Jason.
Makes sense. None of this really, you're like, what am I doing with my life right now?
Right.
You know? No, I feel what you're saying though. No, it's true. It's like these things that's why like Steve, thank you for the super chat, Steve. Steve says, why was the writing so bad this season? And I gotta say, I think that's what it essentially is what we're saying is that there's a lot of good ideas. Like there's not, I wouldn't even truly for the most part say there was a bad idea in the series, but it's like bad ideas together, things that just don't harmonize. They don't sit in harmony together.
The kid living in a pterodactyl's stomach for 24 hours was a bad idea. Like him getting captured by a pterodactyl and being a whole sequence is not a bad idea. The idea of letting him sit in a gullet for 24 hours while we have barbecue and tell stories of at night and make s'mores is a bad idea.
No, and there were like easy fixes, like simply having a large talon, having the kid pinned down, and the thing is just sitting perched in a nest, and there's babies around him, and he's just sitting there, and you're like, oh fuck. Like this thing, any minute now they're gonna bite his head, but it's not feeding time yet. It's just keeping him
it's
there.
Slowly cracking, and he's like he can't get anywhere. You know, I get that.
But right now, Favreau's probably going. You guys don't know how hard it is to work with kids on these sets, man. They gotta fucking go to school every fucking 30 minutes and shit, you know. So that's probably really what it was, but it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it make sense. And CGI the kid, put the helmet on and make him CGI if you have to. Make him a puppet like Grogu.
And give him a better helmet. He has the worst helmet out of all of them. It's ridiculous.
That helmet?
No one else has that helmet.
No, here's what I'm going to say about that helmet, Rob.
It's like a Lego helmet.
It looks like the Hasbro helmet.
There you have it perfect. You have exactly what I was going to say. Max scooping me. I was going to say that helmet is literally the Hasbro helmet.
Yeah.
It's the Hasbro Boba Fett like kids helmet.
It's dumb.
And
this is bad. That's a bad fan service thing.
Rob,
bad fan service. Bad fan service.
No, Rob,
Rub its nose in it, you know,
you're being fucking nice, Rob.
Don't do that.
Rob, we're being dicks on this episode, and you're sounding stupid right now. Okay, like what this? No, I think it's.
Wouldn't be the first time.
I think it's a fucking sellout. I honestly think that the helmet design. Did I lose everybody?
It's
You
as
guys lose me?
bad. No, you're there.
Okay.
We can see you. He can't
Um,
hear us. We can see
I can
whatever
hear
we
you
want
now.
now. Jason won't know. Oh
No,
dude.
this interface is just being fucking dog shit today. I don't know what it still is. I think it checked out after the last episode. No, so I'm just gonna pull up this fucking auction. Don't anybody buy it because it's just slowing down my browser, I think. But like look at that, Rob. Like this
Oh,
helmet.
that's horrible.
Wait, hold on.
That's horrible, dude.
Right
Oh,
though,
no.
right
No.
though. I mean, that's
Oh,
like
it's
that's
the Golden Girls helmet. You know what I mean?
no,
Thank
but
you for being a friend.
it's literally taking
It's so
the
bad.
how they make the kids helmets for the I mean, because you have to give the kids, they need to be able to see and shit, and it's doing that, and I think it was being. I feel like the
Why don't they
design
give
was
him? Why don't
purposely
you give him the plastic one with the rubber band around the back too, Jason? When
no,
we
I
tie
feel like
into-
I feel like it was being Hasbro friendly from day one on that helmet design, and I
It's
also
as
got to
dumb
say,
as putting a Boston Dynamics robot into Boba Fett.
yeah,
right?
way up like that. I was gonna say though, they should have put I had all of these things in my head about what was gonna happen with Ragnar at the end in that moment if they did it, and I was like maybe they would like give him, finish the ceremony and give him like his dad's helmet, like that design, like he would be the one who gets to, you know what I mean, like gets to
Right.
carry that over or something like but yeah, so it was a mistake to it. It was like they wasted time with the character, and then they didn't waste enough time to make it worth the waste.
Well,
That's my
Paz
takeaway
was
on that.
like, "He's my son," right? Which we kind of okay, and like it had throughout the season, if they've been saying, "Hey, your kid," and then Mando goes, "He's not my kid," but he is just kid, and then Mando it could have been a thing in season 1 where they're like, "It's not my kid. I just got to get him to someone," but then is that really your kid? Look, man, I am adopted, so I take adoption stories a little personal. I see them kind of like fucked up,
Mhm.
like I'm like, that's not how it kind of goes, and like my father thought of me as me being his kid way before the adoption. It wasn't
Yeah.
just like he's like, you know what, maybe I'll adopt this kid, and like now you're my son. This whole time we've been play make believe. Like
Yeah.
it's just like this is so fucking weird, dude.
That's
No one
fine.
was anyone asking when is fucking Din gonna actually adopt? When is he gonna get off the hitch and get married to Grogu?
No.
When's he gonna?
Yeah.
Get married to Grogu?
No,
I don't have an adoption. I'm being hyperbolic there.
the thing about that moment when my initial first reaction to it was oh, that's cute. You didn't earn this because this is just something you just made up right now to make a moment. Like it wasn't a real moment. Because Din loved the kid since the first season though. And then when they get back together in Book of Boba Fett, at that point, he's not just hanging out until he finds his people. He adopted him when he took him from Luke Skywalker. When he took him from Luke, he assumed responsibility, and then
when Luke dumped him off on a planet by himself.
No, he sent him in an X-wing Uber. It's the safest Uber.
Sent him in an Uber. Like, good luck, kid.
No, but moments before, Rob, here's where the writing is dumb. Here's where the writing is weak. Bo-Katan says, "Go save your kid." Bo-Katan says, "Did you think your father was or your dad was the only Mandalorian? Your father, your kid," they keep saying it over and over again. And then at the end, he's like, "Oh, I'll adopt you." No, that already happened. You already did this. And then Famuyiwa thinks that's what makes this like the
Famuyiwa is trying to gaslight everybody, Jason.
Let me finish the one thing. Famuyiwa thinks that's what makes it an homage to the kid. Because at the end of it, like he ends up getting with the girl and being the kid's father. He's not a tramp anymore. Him and the kid end up with the rich lady, living the high life, and they're a family. So that didn't even happen here, though. He didn't get with Bo at the end. So, anyways, go on. Sorry.
Well, Famuyiwa was trying to say the Mandalorian could be anybody. I'm like, the Mando's literally like the Mando and Grogu are in the A in the logo, the Mandalorian. Like it doesn't have a silhouette of a bunch of Mandalorians
once
in the
again,
fucking logo. He's in
marketing,
the A,
though.
Jason.
It's marketing. That's
He's in
marketing.
the J. No, he's in. It's like saying anyone could be Batman except the fucking guy called Batman.
If
like,
the show was called
logo,
but this show is called Batman. This show is called Batman. The show's not called Batman.
Jason.
It's called Batman.
Like, they put a little Mando in there. Someone had to carve that little fucker out. You know what I mean? With like chisel, put him in there. Like put a little Grogu.
But once
easy.
again, it
respect the work.
But so I'm gonna disagree with you and come back around and agree with you, Rob. Here's how fucked I find the season. Is that it? Well, no, is that it? That they're making these arguments like Mandalorian is, plurality. It can mean the people, all of them. But then at the end, he moves away, and it's not about them. At the end, they said it's not about them. We're taking it away. So it's like if he stayed, then I'm completely on board. I'm like, yeah, you can do that. That's fair game. You can if you want to. Doesn't mean I want you to or you should, but if you want to, you could. But then he moves away. So what?
Carson Teka. I call him
Teva.
Carson. I can't.
Carson Teva.
Whatever. Carson should be like, that kid ain't adopted yet? Well, the New Republic's taking your kid for child protective services.
Oh no! We're right back where we started.
They put him in the system and he's right back with Luke. Boom! Like that makes as much sense as any other stupid shit they're writing.
How about this? Carson Teva walks into the bar right behind them, fucking blows the kid's brains out. It's like, what the fuck? And he's like, sorry, these guys, they tried to kill the chancellor about 20 years ago, so we off them.
Yeah.
Standing orders.
Yeah.
Standing orders. No, I'm kidding. No,
Standing orders.
No, but so N64, thank you for the super chat. $3.64. I see what you did there. Who was the best new character from season 3 of Mando? Who was the best? Well, okay, I don't know if this might be cheating. And for the record, by the way, we'll talk about this about IG 12 after. But Grogu in IG 12 was my favorite thing of the season.
Mine too, but you're a cheater still.
But it's I mean, but like, and like I think they rolled back on a lot of what they had done. Like there were moments where he had guns and stuff, and he fired guns. Maybe they thought maybe they didn't like the idea of having a child use guns in the current climate of the world or something. I don't know, but they ended up not really doing that stuff. And like in the Mando fight, he kind of does his thing. But so I liked where that was going. I thought, like, for instance, very minor role, but I liked Axe Woves more this year in totality. Like when you get down to it, he is more just kind of like an actual badass who's just out there. Yeah,
he's Slater from Saved by the Bell. Every time he shows up, that's fucking Slater.
Yeah,
he's got that. That shirt that only goes up right up to your tits and like that just lets the abs, and the belly button show. He's got that on, right?
AC3PO Slater. That's what we're gonna go.
Yeah, and also not for nothing, man. When she was doing the ADR and Bo-Katan was saying axe, I thought she was saying ass a couple times. I'm like, is she saying because if you're not. It's a little. It's not as pronunciated as perhaps when you yell "axe" really fast. It does kind of sound like "ass" a little bit.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Did you have a favorite new character? I'm trying to remember like who we have this season.
I guess that would be it.
Oh, I liked the crusty old dark skin guy though. Like on the boat, like that guy looks fucking cool as shit. Like I hope they do stuff with him.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything with him in this one, and I don't really,
No, that's why I'm hoping one of these things picks him up and does something with him.
I love those idea of Mad Max Marauder type.
Mad Maxalorians? We'll call them
Mad Maxalorians.
Yeah.
I like that idea. It's just this is not. I mean, you imagine Favreau and them putting together Fury Road. It would not.
No, he's not the guy for that. For sure,
it would not be the movie.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of Skinny Pete. Skinny Pete should have saved everyone or died or something. Like.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think Skinny Pete just wasn't there for the reshoot. That's what happened. Or it went the other way. Either Skinny Pete wasn't there for the reshoot, or Skinny Pete was added in the reshoot. Whichever, I'm not sure. Most likely, the actor who they had in that last sequence wasn't available, and then when they reshot, they they like hired Skinny Pete was available, who they maybe wanted from the start, and
Yeah.
pulled him in.
Honestly, like whoever's in the background of a shot is the least of our problems. You know what I mean?
Well, he has lines and stuff, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But
I was groaning so much though when the kids started talking, I couldn't hear half of it. I was like,
yeah, like
just repeating the same dialogue from the episode. I thought we were past this. Like, why are we doing this again?
Yeah.
Like at the very end of the Phantom Menace, if Jake Lloyd was forced to repeat all of the lines throughout the movie he had, like at the last second, for some reason, I don't know, it would just like, why are you doing that? Like,
Well, because it was interrupted probably, so that's why they're finishing it off.
But
Right?
did you?
Wasn't he? Wasn't it interrupted?
Yeah, sure.
No,
it
I'm
was
serious.
interrupted. No, they finished it, and then Mando showed up. No, they finished it.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't know, man.
No,
You're right.
I don't
You're right,
think
Max.
it-
It all makes sense now. I take it back. Like,
No, did you pick a character, Max? Did you have
No.
to answer?
No,
and did you have?
No, I do like the IG grow thing.
I showed it,
look
Luke.
at you.
Luke.
But I did
Luke,
one.
Luke made me promise I would show it. He came and put it on my desk to make sure. I was like, yep.
They got
yep,
you with the
yep.
merch, Jason. They got
yeah.
you.
Oh, this is fucking great merch. This is fun. I'm all about it. I'm not anti merch when it's cool.
I'm anti Legos.
But
I don't like Legos.
yeah, but I mean, like I liked the Phil Tippett character, the Phil Tippett monster in the cave. It's not really a character. I wouldn't call it a character necessarily, as much as like an obstacle. But I dug it though. I liked it. I liked when yeah, and unlike most people, I like that Gorian shard flavor. I like when they go a little bit Marvel, a little bit Return of the Jedi esque. You know what I mean? At times, I don't mind that. Like I'm not somebody who thinks like Star Wars is the Empire Strikes Back. I like to take Star Wars in totality of like extrapolating from most of the stuff from the first 6, and then interesting things like
the Terminator IG-88 moment, like IG-11 or whatever moment.
Yeah,
an all Terminator, and he's like on the ground crawling and shit. I like.
Yeah,
that was.
But N64's question is a little bit difficult because there weren't really a lot of new characters. Like it was mostly people who we've seen who have been around, and like the new characters sort of amount to people like the Mad Maxlorians and the like even the characters like Pershing and the Coruscant episode and stuff. Like those were all
pops.
really
those glow pops were characters.
The glow pops. Yeah. So yeah. But I mean the you know, a lot of things just this season that just like this felt the most like the Rise of Skywalker for me, and it's exemplified in the fact that he does the requisitions order essentially for Praetorians, and then they come as Mandos. Why would the Praetorians, like clearly that's not how that went originally. They were supposed to be like those were Gideon's Praetorians that were made to go with his Mando suit, and that they were using the Mandalorian Beskar stuff to start that. And then they just made it like, nah, it already existed. Like I almost feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe one of you in the chat could tell me, but maybe like there was already lore established for what the Praetorians like were or how they came about. And it wasn't just the Royal Guard or something. And that's what he assumed and then kind of had to change it or something just to fit with, but whatever it happened to be. That's a design thing that doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't make sense that there's First Order stormtroopers and Empire era Star Destroyers for them in Exegol. Like, did they only have the spell? Oh, sorry, we only have the spell for the old Star Destroyers, but don't worry, we got the spell for the new stormtroopers. Like that's
doesn't
kind
matter.
of what it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
But
doesn't
but
matter.
it does. It does matter. It doesn't matter when people don't know if they don't understand what's going on, but over time it matters, and over time it makes people like kind of annoyed, you know. And you're not wrong. Bridging the Geekdoms podcast says IG-12 suit was useless. In the end, it really was a really roundabout way. I mean, well, here's the thing, Bridging the Geekdoms, is you have to understand is that now IG-11 won't do anything bad because Grogu was literally in his heart. He accepted Grogu into his heart, and now he's good. No,
and now
no,
they have an
okay.
IG head a rando IG head. I don't know why, but they do. They got one.
Well,
They put it. They made it. They put it. They got it.
It had the part. It had the part that they need. Never mind, you could see it in every bar in Star Wars. Bo-Katan never made her own decision. Everything happened to her. So much wrong with this season. Yeah, I understand. I think you're right about that too, in terms of analyzing her character, because they introduce her old flaws and they tell us what they were and what the mistakes were, but she never is forced with a difficult question or whatever that makes it where it shows that she did the harder choice. You know what I mean? Like whether it was just telling the people at the dinner table, I did surrender, like that was a good moment, but it could have been a more powerful moment with something like that, with the fact that she wouldn't cop to something that she did or whatever, you know what I mean? In the backstory. Because yeah, you're not wrong though. As I'm thinking about it, everything did just happen to her. In fact, she didn't even actually get off her ass for her own reasons. It was that she was sort of like guilted. I need your help. Come this way into it. And in most of the stories, like in terms of like monomyth kind of stuff, like the easy one that we'll use in this example is Luke Skywalker has the call to adventure, refuses it. Then aunt and uncle are murdered and barbecued, and now the cosmic force of the story.
And then we whoop right on the barbecue. Yeah. Whoop, right?
Yeah.
But the next scene, right?
It's now making
like
that it's making that person go and do it. And like, so I found that interesting when I first looked at it as a text, so to speak, is that she doesn't answer the call to adventure on her own accord. She like literally is forced into it, guilted, if you will. But then her home is destroyed. And I was like, so that right there, I see it as sort of a flaw in her hero's journey in that way, in that it should have been her refusing to answer the call that then brought the Thea stuff there, then forced her to go. Like Grogu should have been tracked there, so for instance. Something like that, then they should have shown up. But it played, I think, even in the most basic of monomyth terms, sort of kind of not the best.
Chris says Max is right. His little boy Vizsla's first baptism was interrupted by the giant croc monster from the first episode. You can hate the repeated dialogue, but this makes perfect sense. Except he gets to fucking train with weapons and have a battle with Grogu, like after all that shit, right? Like, so. What does the baptism matter if you're still able to train and be in the armor and playing war games and shit? Like, the kids gets to play in war games.
That's right. That's right. Never mind.
And it wasn't ever brought up like he can't be in the tribe, he can't fight until like it's incidental bullshit that's not apparent to the main narrative of any narrative of this. It's not an A plot, a B plot, a C plot, or a D plot. It's incidental. You know?
Well, like I also feel it was a big mistake with the character and looking at as far as we went with him, I think it was a mistake to not have Ragnar there when the father died. Ragnar should have been in the group, but he wasn't.
His dad dying was a big deal.
They could have said, you can't come because you haven't done the ceremony. Which I don't even want that to happen, but that's what would have made sense. Right. And then, but then, you know, at the end of the day, like they should have Jango Boba Fetted him. If he's going to be, because this could be an emerging, it doesn't matter if you like the kid or you don't like the kid, you thought the lines were done, whatever. Like when we go 10 years into the future right now, that guy might be a feature character with his own show or something, or in a story that's badass. You know what I mean? Like he's a vizsla. So in terms of like in the Mandalorians, Rob, they're like the vizsla family, like into the Clone Wars, where like Death Watch was led by vizsla, and he wants to be Mandalore.
That doesn't matter if you're watching the series. It's irrelevant. Like
no, it matters in Star Wars. So Rob, it doesn't. No,
this is
you're like literally wrong.
Service,
Rob,
man.
Rob, but Rob,
it's like having Damian Wayne show up and never fucking explain or make that important to a movie, but then you go, but in the comics, he's Ra's al Ghul's
That's not my point, Rob. You're going down. My point is the vizsla line will keep showing up, so fans connect it, and then go. That's why the story is a thing. I'm not saying
it's irrelevant if his name was Vizsla or Pazla or Chicken Nuggets. Like,
No,
the
fact
his
that
dad
yeah.
died and no one mentioned it, you know, like,
And
he's-
both were voiced by Jon Favreau in the. So anyways, where I'm going with this though is that the kid will like the vizsla line will be important in the future of the Mandalorians as they are historically a Mandalorian thing. So in the future when they go to make up a character and this character is this archetype and this idea, then they'll go, oh, let's make him a vizsla. Yeah. And then that will happen. So what I'm trying to say is I think the character might have a future. There's a chance for him more than Broom Boy in The Last Jedi, for instance, based off of precedent. You know what I mean, though. But you
sure.
and yeah, they didn't. It wasn't important to the story, though. It wasn't important that he was from a long line of important people on Mandalore. It literally wasn't.
It's not important to the general audience,
right?
Based on the story they told you. Like, none of that is important. So it's like, you know, like putting those things in, and I just like there's things you can go there with. Paz is a dad who had a kid. Din is a guy who has a kid. There's themes there. There's things, but they're not fleshed out in any meaningful manner, nor utilized in any meaningful manner. And then at the end, the kid who literally was an orphan didn't get adopted. The kid who was already adopted got readopted, and he became a knight. I don't fucking know, man. Like,
this is like the reality of the situation is that we have millions of people creaming their jeans over the fact that Thrawn is back in some way, and none of that has really been important to anything, has it? I mean, in actuality, but it's only important if you're a consumer of all of the media or you're consuming the media, then it matters. So it's like that's why Kenobi's brother will be a thing someday. Or the offspring of Kenobi's brother will be a thing
just
someday.
Call it Kenobi's brother, the series.
Kenobi's brother. Yeah. But is he black? Because that's not going to fly.
No.
Okay. No.
Brother, where art thou?
No,
right?
no, we won't do that.
Kenobi, brother, where art thou? That's the name of the new series by the Coens.
My point is, if you're a prominent character in Star Wars and you got a fucking last name, and they do something in a different era, there's a good chance that character will be showing up. Therefore, he's one of the only characters who could pertain to like the sequel trilogy era. Who will be alive?
Do they all wear Hasbro helmets?
If he's still wearing
stupid Hasbro helmets,
if he's still wearing,
I'm the Legolorian, and we wear Hasbro-lorians, and we all wear stupid Hasbro helmets. How about fix the fucking helmet? Like, I get the helmet had to have extra wide things so kids don't run into shit.
Yeah,
but like.
It's
like,
a fun
who the fuck cares, man? Like, everyone else is wearing a cool. God damn, dude. Like, if you're gonna at least make it look cool, like, don't make it look dumb and be like, but we took it from the toy. Like, the fucking Hasbro tube sabers were dumb too. We gotta put those in the fucking series. Like remember the big thick ass sabers? You know that. Like, put that in there too. Like,
yeah.
So
Chris
weird,
says Skinny Pete has a badass costume. He does. Yeah, the work was definitely good.
They didn't get any new digs though when at the end, right? They were still wearing their ratty ass shit and everyone else looked nice.
Yeah, so the mythosaur armor. The mythosaur armor.
Even Lucas cleaned up C-3PO for the ceremony. You know what I mean? At the end of Star Wars, right? Like
yeah, like with Bo, there were more pieces of mythosaur stuff designed for her. I don't know if they made it, but they didn't use it, and just the mythosaur armor was simply her getting the pauldron replaced, which was whatever, you know. It is what it is. Thank you for the super chat. Sucked. It says it feels like the writers were scared to take chances. If Bo was a bitter antagonist for most of the season, that would have been fun as hell, in my own opinion. And like,
could have been good cop, bad cop, Lethal Weapon or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, could have been like she's like going around to different clans, or I don't know, something. Fuck, dude, I'm with you on that, Suck. But. Yeah,
well, it's. I think this is the problem with having a really good history story. A good history of an overview of what happened, but then not being able to write within the confines of that story that you've come up with. You know, Favreau, like it's not character driven.
Favreau to me is he's really good in that swingers, elf, Iron Man 1 improv, kind of like mid to late 90s director, like Kevin Smith, like it's the very same category as Kevin Smith, where, you know, you set up some stuff, you kind of let your actors kind of make the most out of whatever you wrote. You know, maybe he wrote a little, I always figured Kevin was more verbose than Jon Favreau, but it was the same kind of Miramax-ish, you know, Tarantino-ish kind of director. When Favreau steps into like Iron Man 2 and Cowboys and Aliens, it ain't his thing, man. Like, it's, you know, it's just not, it's not, you know, world building and larger myths and motives
Rob,
and fucking.
What is that? What is that?
At it.
Do you know what that's called when it does the like the very last shot where it goes to Grogu with that little like iris kind of thing is that moves around? Do you know what that's called?
Mr. Johnson in my 12th grade film class said it once, and I can't.
Yeah.
Iris, an iris is
Yeah,
iris
is that an iris? Like,
So
I wasn't
I'm gonna
sure.
say iris in. That's letter C on the test, and 50%
Yeah.
of all answers are C. So I'm going with that, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I was trying to
Yes.
like Google it right now to do a show, but yeah, that little thing, it was a Mario thing. It wasn't. That's
Right.
from that's like a thing
Super
from
Mario World
Chaplin
when it
that
zooms
they
in,
were.
doot, doot, and he gets the key. And,
Yeah, but that's what where we experienced it. As
they didn't even put it in the
modern
Mario
people.
movie.
Mhm. Yeah,
Would have been appropriate.
yeah, could have, but they put enough in the
Maybe
Mario
Mando
movie.
season 3 is all a play. Like Mario 3 was a play, Jason, right? Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
Right?
that's how they could do the second season or the second film.
Kenobi's brother. Good one,
Yeah.
Dale. That's the one thing you've said all year that I agree with. Like Star
Yeah.
Wars Kenobi's brother with a particular set. I like the capitalization on particular set of skills. So we have to call it KBPSS, right? Like just so we're all clear, right? It's KBPSS. Kid Piss. Star Wars Kid Piss is the movie I'm looking forward to. Series
Yeah.
from Disney Plus.
Yeah, and I also think that fight with the monster in the boat, I do think that was originally going to be the Mythosaur fight, and then they decided to make it a benevolent beast. Maybe they saw Avatar.
There were a lot of monsters on there.
I like those whales; they're really cute. Let's keep them alive.
Missing the whole point, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was clear at the very end, like the Mythosaur did show up. That did happen. But it was like they're making it where Grogu has the connection with it. So I guess they're saving that in the back pocket. Because clearly at some point, most likely a moment will happen where Grogu summons the Mythosaur using his connection.
Grogu's summer vacation when he spends time with mom, right?
One thing,
he goes back to
Filoni likes to make his Jedi into one step away from being nudist, but they always commune with animals. Like his Jedi, they always have a connection to nature, and Ahsoka, Ezra,
Shirt
and
Tales,
Grogu.
Jason. Don't you ever watch Shirt Tales? My
I
favorite
like Shirt Tales.
cartoon. Know what I'm saying? Ooh,
Yeah.
Shirt Tales. They're like Smurfs, but little furries. They got
But then the Care Bears did the Care Bears
shirts.
scare, and we're like, we could do that too,
Oh, yeah.
bitch. What?
No, honestly, Jason, my favorite cartoon was Mount Chi-Chi's. You ever seen Mount Chi-Chi's?
Oh, I remember. I had one.
Mount
I had one.
Chi-Chi's.
I'm on Chi
Your
Chi.
own
It was the
Chi-Chi?
best.
Yeah.
They had the best little song. We're gonna have Grogu sing that season 4.
They could suck their thumbs. I remember that.
I'm hungry now. I'll be back. Bye.
little temptresses. But yeah. Well, I mean, like it's weird. I feel like here's how it is for me. The season trilogy of The Mandalorian is Back to the Future for me. You got Back to the Future Part 1, you got Back to the Future Part 2, and this was Back to the Future Part 3. And it really fucking was for me. Like this is how I feel about it. I feel like I'm gonna go rewatch this season, having felt that I hated it. I'm like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And then I'm gonna go thinking it's good now, and watching it, I'm like, this is not good. You know, I think that's just like where it's gonna fall for me. Like it's like there's a lot of like stuff
You're
that
saying Grogu's gonna build a time traveling train from items from the old west magically, right?
I mean, they're
Using the battery from a hoverboard.
they made a
You
mech.
got
They
me.
made a mech.
You
I mean,
got-
I guess it's possible.
Time traveling back though.
Yeah. That's true. No, I'm saying that like it's like literally like how I feel that it like they kind of line up like that. It kind of reminds me of Back to the Future, and this is Back to the Future Part 3 for me, which is like it's like I love the characters, I love the setting, I love the stuff in it, I love the music to it, I love the director for the most part, and it's like, but at the same time, it doesn't come together to be as good as the other two, you know, and like that's just where it kind of like falls for me. I wouldn't go out and say like the show's dead or it's something's wrong. The like the viewership isn't actually down. All of that shit was just bullshit. That was people reading numbers how they wanted to read them to make a narrative and stuff. But it's like we'll have to see. Like, you know, I see, because the thing about it is like a season like this, though, I don't think hurts this season. I think bad episodes don't hurt the run that they're in. They hurt going on with it in the future. They hurt the next time. So if the next Mandalorian opens up to fucking stellar numbers, we know to the general audience, it didn't matter that it was bad. It didn't matter that it was
Audiences
wonky.
kept showing up for those Transformer films, but so
Right.
what? Like
Right.
there's still a bunch of fucking Transformers films. The Last Night, the
Well,
Rise of
Rob,
the
not
stupid
Rob.
Dino robots. Like,
I'm talking about the fake reality of the discourse that we have to live with guys in men's rights groups who try to push
I blocked
narratives
all those people, so I don't see it.
about what's happening, you know. And yeah, so like
the guys who
once
talk
again,
about Valhalla while wearing Russian hats, those guys.
yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
But you know, like I said, like at the end, it's just what's the old term, the promise of the premise didn't live up to
Promise
it.
of the premise.
Did not live up
No.
to the promise of the premise at all.
Nope.
That's what I would say. Respect them for trying it, for going for it, like trying to do
Good
what
experiment.
they did.
All those millions of dollars, like to
Yeah,
give it a go.
Not my money, you know. but yeah, it
Can do.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, it's simply like, and I'll be honest though, like this has me worried about that like Filoni film.
Oh yeah.
Because if this is like with all of the time in the world, with essentially 4 to 7 hours or whatever they had to like do this story, they couldn't do this one. Like this whole season could have been a film. Like when you just get down to it, with Bo picking up Bo and going to Mandalore, it's still alive and we're gonna save it. And then the bad guys that, you know, it really was like a film's worth of actual story. And
a lot of Disney Plus shows have ended up like, this is like 90 minutes to 2 hours and 15 minutes worth of content stretched over 6 hours. A lot of their shows.
Yeah.
Not just Star Wars.
It's like, it's like the assembly cut with visual effects almost in certain ways.
Yeah.
Not as plotting as those, but you know what I mean? And it's like, so, you know, that this was those guys trying to do a macro story instead of a micro story. And I don't think they like nailed it. So it's just for me, you know, and once again, I'm not telling anybody that they should hate it or like it. I'm just like, we're just sharing what we think. And I know some of you guys like are like have your opinion and you want it echoed back at you. Fucking never going to be this show. Cause I can't say what you, if I could say what people wanted me to say, I would be with many of my ex-girlfriends right now, but I just can't do it. So I just can't say what you want me to say. I'm just going to say what I think. So Steven says, Filoni has been asked who would be writing his movie, and he said he'd be involved in some way, but didn't want to say who was writing. Who else was writing? Favreau has just been said to be producing. Yeah, exactly. I think my opinion, Filoni is the primary writer, but he knows he may not be in the end. That Lucasfilm may say we're bringing in Stephen Knight, for instance, like how they did on the other one, like something like some equivalent. So yeah, some equivalent of that may happen. They're
going to get
to him.
Steven Streethawk next, right?
Yeah.
And Alan Airwolf. Well, he'll be the third. Yeah. I like it.
But I would imagine if everything just goes according to plan, then it would probably just be Dave Filoni. I mean, I don't have any insight into this. This is just my reading of the past things that he's done, like doing 4-parters of Clone Wars and what he wrote and what he didn't. But then again, if he ends up like running into problems, then it could be, you might have a situation where like him and Chris Terrio keep talking and then Chris Terrio just writing it with him now. Like that kind of stuff happens on these kind of things. But I think that's why he was being dodgy because
No, he's bringing back Jonathan Hales. He's coming back, Jason. He ain't got nothing to do. Can you believe that? Since Attack of the Clones, he ain't written nothing. No. He's just been writing, Wikipedia entries. It's weird, but yeah, we're gonna get back.
Yeah. But so I think that if they don't want to go, and I think right now, not knowing what's going to happen and how it's going to go and it not being written already and stuff like that, I'm just guessing that he would be dodgy about it because he just wouldn't want to commit. And then all of a sudden when it does turn out that, they're bringing on somebody else, now it's like, oh, they took Filoni's movie from him because Kathleen Kennedy is a bitch, a big old fucking bitch. Like that's the kind of shit that they go and they push. It's just, it's not real.
Right? There's a whole song about
this. but yeah.
Yeah, she's the biggest.
Frank Marshall sings it, not me. I don't know why he does. I don't think it's appropriate. But
karaoke, he points right to his wife. Don't do that.
No, don't do it. Since Raiders of the Lost Ark, you've been a big fat bitch. No, don't do it. But he always starts it with "Since Raiders of the Lost Ark," which I like.
Summer of '99.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah. I mean, but. I do still believe in Favreau. I still I think I'm hoping that he's heard what we essentially think in totality. Like as it came out, everyone was saying it's rushed. And usually that would be a comment on the editor. But the reality is, we all know it was the writing is what led to the rushed filming, not the editing.
So I think the combination of Book of Boba Fett and going into this probably was very rushed, and that's why it's kind of like all over the place.
And
this
Max,
one
he's
though,
already written the fourth season. It's already done, right?
Well, no. Here's the thing about it though, is that this one had the most time out of anything ever. This one, this production itself was not rushed.
So I'm saying,
yeah.
So, from what I'm understanding, is that there were a lot of reshoots of sorts, or
there were like 3. I know of 3.
Could it have been as a result of how Book of Boba Fett came out, and maybe they were thinking, well, we got to try and clean this up, or
they cut the Vespas out of the third act, is what you're saying, Max? Like that whole
exactly.
The Vespas fly in on their little Vespa bikes.
I want to build on what Max said, because I think if you erased Book of Boba Fett and it just never happened, let's just pretend like it just didn't come together, then in this season you would have had this restoration of Mandalore arc being moved more to the back end. We would have started with Din bumming it, wanting Grogu back. We would have had him get Grogu back around mid-season, but before that, there would have been some Boba Fett adventure with him to tell that story. So you would have had Din bumming it. Boba becomes daimyo of Tatooine in a few episodes, probably an episode or 2, maybe a 2-parter. And then, we would have skipped all the fat and told like Boba's story. When we would have told Din his story, we would have got the flashbacks, and then we would have ended up moving into to something's going on with this Gideon stuff and Bo-Katan. And I think it actually probably would have been a better season of more standalone-ish episodes, but with more of a story that took place. But moving that one story that they're already, because once they're together, there's not a lot more to say. And me and Bespin keep laughing at this because Favreau said he can't write Din and Grogu apart. He doesn't know how. He has a hard time with it. And like in this last episode, they're apart for fucking the week that we were waiting for the next episode to start. Grogu just walks in the next room. Like that's literally all that happened. Like he can't do it. He can't keep them apart. He tries, but he can't. And So yeah, so like I at the end of the day, I'm more of the opinion of Favreau might be better if he just does his show, if he just has the one show, and I or he either I think I say he either runs all these shows as like the executive producer in Los Angeles, or he does his show because it's like
Kevin Smith
it feels
has a
pulled.
group of writers on the He-Man cartoon. A
Yeah.
grip of them. Mark Bernard was one of them. He had like 3 or 4 writers. They turned in scripts. He might rewrite some dialogue and do the final tweaks, but like it's a collaborative effort with him overseeing it essentially. And he might write one of them, but like I could sit here and say that He-Man cartoon had, this could have happened or that could happen, but at the end of the day, when it's done, it was a complete fun story. Better than 99% of any He-Man ever made. When you really look at those
it's the
cartoons,
best
are unfucking watchable.
It's not. Yeah, I it didn't live up to all of my expectations of the promise of the premise again, but it was the best He-Man we ever had, easily.
Sure. So like, if Kevin was like, I'm gonna write all of them myself, and we're firing all the writers, like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make this I'd be like, don't. Like, the best thing he ever did, in my opinion, was a Clerks cartoon that had multiple writers.
Mhm.
So like, John Favreau. I was the guy sticking up for John Favreau for years. I was the only motherfucker in the theater watching Zathura. I had the Drew Struzan posters.
You saw that?
Yeah,
Loser.
I was like,
No,
this is way better than Jumanji. Fuck Jumanji. This is my shit. Like, it's got cannibalistic puppet dinosaurs gonna eat the bones off of people and shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, and the brothers, the relationship between the brothers was like, I thought genuine. Like, it wasn't like a 90s slapstick comedy. But
that's where Armie Hammer developed his fetish when he first saw
and I was looking forward to Cowboys versus Alien. I thought that trailer was amazing.
Yeah.
But the movie, man.
Yeah.
Like and then you go, well, Rob, okay, but Iron Man 2, like Iron Man 2 has good actors. It has that F1 Formula race where the suitcase thing is a great sequence,
Sure.
But as a film, the Disneyland World's Fair bit at the end with fucking million robots running around and shit, it's fucking, everyone was like, it feels like it's just part of a bigger thing and it's not its own movie. Well, that's where we're at now. We're right back to this. And I got to tell you, the Avengers movie John was going to direct was not good. There's a reason why he was let go and Joss Whedon was brought in, and on the agreement that Joss would write it. It was Joss's, I'm not going to get into the fucking personal shenanigans of Joss Whedon, but the MCU as you know it would not have made it had Jon Favreau made that Avengers film. I'm telling you.
Okay. Well, this is what's interesting is the Avengers or the MCU and the Avengers film wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Jon Favreau, but it also wouldn't have reached its heights if it was for Jon Favreau.
Correct.
So it's like, there is.
He's really good at a smaller scale, independent little thing. Like, if he just wrote and directed a couple standalone Mando Grogu episodes, but was overseeing the larger arc with people who like are more skilled set with that, okay, then give that a shot. But him writing, the Gilroy-esque episode with, Pershing, like, it's not your wheel set, dude. It's not, it's not.
That was a little bit like me trying to go, Rob, I did a demo and it's opera. Want to hear me do opera? Because
if I fucking made a song to give you to be the theme song for the show, it's not appropriate for me to go because I have AI.
I'll draw the art. You do the music and I'll draw the art.
Yeah, it'll be like that time you did rotoscope animation with Filoni. Remember we did that? Like, that was the best.
That was fun.
We're gonna win awards, Webbies. We're gonna win Webbies for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. But I just gotta tell you, folks, like, the last 4 or 5 minutes of this episode, with all the exposition, it's so cringe-inducing for me, just as a fan, that I'm embarrassed. It's embarrassing. I can't recommend this to people, dude. I can't. I just can't. I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
I want to. I watched it. $400 Razor Crest right there, Jason.
Loser. I watched it with that thing got blown up. You shouldn't have bought that. You should have bought the.
But it was in
Lego. And this thing right here, so far, is good. Is going to last more seasons than the Razor Crest.
Yeah, because R5's hiding it somewhere in a fucking cave for the entire episode, so it never gets shot up.
One with R5, which is kind of sucks.
By the way, did you see in the credits when they cut to the fan art, or not the fan art, the concept art for the shack that they're staying in, the hut, the homestead? Above the door, it has like two glowy little eyes. Looks like a little face. It's got like two glowy eyes in the mouth for the door. Looks like it's going, oh, like it looks like one of those nope Muppets, right? Like, go look at it again. It's got, yeah. It's a, like, remember they're doing skeptical houses for a while? It's like shock houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Max, you have anything else to say before we go?
Ribbit.
Yeah. All right. So Max wants Frog Lady back.
There's a couple of episodes that I probably would skip, but it was fine. This season for me, like, I don't hate it. It's not Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But and I was the past two. This episode and last would be good if it was together, but now I can watch them together.
Yeah, that's like the weird thing is, like, in terms of like the release, frustrating and not good. But then now for all of time they sit together, and it's not an issue. It's like only on the release week that it like actually matters. But and I don't know if that sets how much of the history of the way it's remembered is set at this time, or how much of it is just like remembered through rewatches over the year. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if it even matters that if they did it this way now, but yeah, but it definitely, they should have just done 7 with a really long last episode. But that would have been like the better way to do this. It would have actually helped the episode.
They got to stop the ADR, man. They got to stop it. They got to stop it.
Okay, they can't. They can't. They love it.
Kids can't help themselves.
They can't stop it. They can't.
Why don't we add a laugh track too while we're at it? You know what I mean?
I mean,
and when Grogu does something wrong, we go ooh, right?
when AC Slater comes in and says, "Hey, Preppy," and like looks at her, we go ooh. Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to be king. He's going to be king of Mandalore pretty soon. I think he's going to be married to Mandalore.
Axe?
Oh yeah, that guy's got fucking moves. That guy fucks.
Oh yeah, he totally does.
I mean,
and Bo-Katan's like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Okay, Bo-Katan definitely thought
I hated that show.
I could fuck this. Which I'm about Mando. She's like, I could fuck this guy, but then she thought, it's kind of churchy. Churchy guys don't fuck. I'm out. That's why nothing happened.
Talking about churchy guys rape kids all the time, dude. Like,
oh yeah, but not beautiful adult women. Different thing.
You got me on that one.
Thing. Yeah, different, totally different. I mean, like, guys who plan insurrections totally aren't pedophiles at all either. That's not a thing. January 6th, did you hear about that? The guy who's the stop the steal guy, fucking pedophile. Yeah, and he starts his apology with, "This is so gay." Like, are you fucking for real? Are you a real person? You are such a fucking loser. Anyways, yes. Why'd you take me down that path, Rob? Master manipulator, you master of puppets.
You master
puppets.
Yeah.
Pastor
Well, anyways,
Muppets.
Yeah, master of Muppets. But we'll be back tomorrow, talking about Star Wars and whatever's going on. Today's show was just a big hodgepodge of what happened.
Tomorrow, Jason will say he needs a day off.
You think so? Maybe.
Yeah, I do. I think so. You'll be on Santa's show for 2 hours, and then you're going to tell me, you guys can go and have your fun lore talk. It'll be a super positive. Have a good time.
Yeah.
Jason can explain all the ins and outs of how this lineage is connected to that lineage, and the 17th episode of Rebels, which led back to the 4th storyline on the Clone Wars on season 5 through 7. Like, and I'll super chat something dumb like that.
No, I didn't like this season in totality. I give it like a 6, probably out of 10. And but I also mostly had fun. So it's like that's like the whole thing is, I can be critical of something, I could have fun. I could go play miniature golf at the worst ghetto fucking tore up fucking grass is coming off the green fucking miniature golf course, but I'll still have fun playing miniature golf because miniature golf is inherently fun to me. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like that's just
from now until the end of time, I will knight whoever finishes miniature golf with me now, because that's what you do when you get done with putt, you get knighted.
oh, we don't call it putt around here. We're men. Sorry, but anyways, no,
We're innocent men.
like is
Innocent men.
putt like? Did you actually call it putt growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I've heard that. I thought it was like an East Coast thing or some shit. I don't know where that came
No,
from.
because like you have a
Is it
putter,
putt
but you
more
couldn't
like-
hit it as hard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it more of like an enclosed place, putt versus golf?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't fucking play putt. But...
Yeah, I mean,
It's like
I
catch up
play
and cats up.
I play miniature golf. It's like golf, but miniature,
like smaller.
like tiny, like a little Grogu. You know, a little cute Anzelin
Din
that says,
Grogu.
"I'm out, motherfucker."
Sir,
You know what I mean?
Sir Din Grogu Skywalker. It's just a matter of time before he gets.
Oh yeah,
the
he
No,
did
he's
take.
in
Yeah, he
Skywalker.
did. Yeah. Are we
No, Skywalker.
are we gonna have as much resistance to him having the name Din as Rey got for Skywalker?
I'm not. Shut up, Rob.
So they-
Interesting
It
that
doesn't
in
bother me.
Mando-
in Mando culture, you take the first name, not the last name, because Djarin sucks, and they had to. That's why they did that. I bet you. But anyways,
No one's calling him Din Grogu. I'm just telling you right now. People were calling him Grogu. Now they're just fucking with us. Like now they're just like they're just Voltroning on different names and shit just to give them. Yeah.
well,
May
all
the
right.
Force be with you.
Well, we'll be back tomorrow, regardless of what Rob says, unless he's right. If he is, we'll sing a Rob's right.
I'm right.
it, but,
this
yeah.
time I know, Jason. I know. Slow news day. We got enough traffic. I'm gonna go dive into a bowl of Little Caesars. See you later.
Yeah,
Pot two
depends
fish.
though. I'm
Look,
I'm
this
gonna
season gave us that song you made, Jason, so I'm happy. Every season of shitty Star Wars has at least given us a great Jason song. So for that,
I won't go great, but yeah. Well,
one day you're gonna have to play all these songs at a Star Wars celebration, and I will be there for that. Like,
I'll do it. I'll do it.
I will spend the money.
I'm gonna make.
I'll be
I'm
complaining
gonna.
with Asachu. Asachu will be like, they told us Fandom was supposed to play at 8 p.m. and they started 30 minutes early. The line's down the street, mate. like this poor kid.
I'll only do it if I could hire Ash to be my backing band. That's how I'll do it. But all right, everyone.
And I'm gonna
Thanks
do
again.
the
Thank you,
the
Max.
Lady Gaga. When
Oh,
you do the I'll be out there trying to get it going.
You're gonna be wearing
Yeah.
a bird meat dress from the babies, you know, but it's gonna be a dress of the bird meat because they did eat those babies because those babies were nowhere to be seen after we saw the meat. So they did eat those babies, you guys.
They ate
Those
the
babies.
foundlings.
If you're wondering, they are very pro late term abortion. You can fight me on it all you want, but the proof is right there. They did. They said
Chicken nuggies with all
They
the
said-
fixins.
they said Mandalore is not a welfare state. Get the fuck off the planet. Okay, fine. We're gonna eat you. And then that was how it ended. But anyways, bye everybody. Thank you for the super chats today, guys, and all that stuff. And this is a 2-hour episode, so you know I'll put it up as a podcast.
Hate.
Send
Send
him-
me your hate.
send him the
Complain
hate.
below. Yes.
Send him the hate. You know what?
Wasteoftime podcast.com.
Wasteoftimepodcast.net. I used to have an ending to the show. I fucking lost it. I don't know where it is anymore. So we'll just end. Well, what should we end it with?
End of the show.
Yeah, I lost it. I don't know where it is.
End of the show.
Oh, well, we'll just go with fucking Kanye and friends. You know.
It's the end of the show.
No. All right.
Good time.